Hi, my name is Worley, head teaching professional at Jackson Park Golf Course. Today I'm going to be helping beginners with a golf swing during the season and off the season. I'm going to give some good drills you can work on to better your swing. It's going to be the same swing with all 13 clubs in your bag. We're going to first work on the takeaway, and then we're going to work on getting the club to the top, and we're going to work on the follow through as well as releasing the club the proper way. Okay? So the first thing we're going to get started with is the proper grip. Now we're going to start off with the overlap grip. The pinky goes on top of the forefinger, and the interlock grip. But we're going to bring the club down and learn how to get the club in the left hand the proper way. You can see I have a black line going across my lifeline in my left hand where the club is going to fit. I'm going to close it up, put the thumb on the grip. I'm going to bring the club up, and we're going to just start off with the overlap grip, where I'm going to place the finger, the pinky, right on top of the forefinger. But before I close up the right hand, I'm going to bring it down so you can see that I want the club, the grip, to go across in the fingers. Now I'm going to close up where I cannot see my left thumb at all. This is a very good grip where you can see that your hands are together as a unit and you don't see any gaps. Okay, that way your hands can work together as a unit. You don't want to start off with a bad grip, because as you get into the game, it's going to have a lot of faults setting in where you're not going to be able to release the club head. Okay, so I'm going to bring it down, and we're going to bring it back up, and we're going to go with an interlock grip. Same grip, open up the forefinger, slide the pinky in between. Before you close it up, again, we're going to just bring it into the fingers, close it up, hide the left thumb, and there you have it. You have your interlock and you have your overlap. Now we're going to get into the stance and posture before we get into the golf swing. What we want to do, you can do this at home, again, off the off season and during the season. You want to put something down and make sure your feet are about width of your hips. You don't want to go outside your hips, because as you develop a golf swing, you want to make sure you stand center and coiling back to the golf ball. So stance plays a very important part as we get into the golf swing. So your stance should be about width of your hips, okay? And you want to have your feet parallel, which is very, very key until later on about direction and alignment, okay? Now we're going to turn sideways and we're going to talk about posture. What we want to do here is we want to keep the knees straight and tilt from the waist, where you have a little bend from the waist like so. And then we're going to flex the knees just a little. And there you have it. You have your posture and you have your stance. Okay, let's do that again. So I'm tilting and a little flex in the knees. You say, how much flex? Probably just an inch. That's it. Not this, because then you lose your angle of your posture. Okay. One more time. You're going to tilt. Arms are hanging right over the toes, and a little flex in the knees, and that's it. Okay. And now, the most important thing is where my arms are hanging, this is where you want to grip the golf club. Okay, so we talked about the grip earlier, about the interlock and overlap. So this is where you want to grip the club here, hanging straight down, not out. You do not want to reach for the golf ball. Okay, this is where your arms want to swing. That's where you want to grip them. Okay, there you have it. So you have your stance and you have your posture. Okay, now we're going to get into the golf swing. We're going to talk about the takeaway and getting the club to the top of the swing. Okay, so remember we talked about the overlap grip or the interlock, posture, stance, and the first 18 inches of the takeaway is to turn and keep both arms straight and turn your hips and your chest and hold here. When you get here, both your thumbs have to point towards the sky or the ceiling or the toe of the club. Let's try that again. Now remember, we don't want to sway, but we want to coil, stand centered. Let's do that one more time. When you set up, do not allow tension to set into your arms at all. You don't want to have any tension in your shoulders or your arms or your hands. Soft. And we're going to turn and stop. From here, you're going to cock your wrist up and down. Up. This is the correct way to cock the wrist or to hinge them. Okay, let's do that again. Got my posture. Arms are hanging directly along the blue. Under the shoulders, a little flex in the knees. This is where I'm going to grip it. Not out here. And turn. Stop. Now, when I cock my wrist, I want to turn my shoulders at the same time. Cock and turn. Stop here. Now, this is where you want to stop. Exercising getting the hands even with the shoulders, not above the shoulders, but back here where the shoulders are, matching the stick here. This is getting the club on track. Okay, my left arm is matching the blue foam behind me to my right. You don't want your arms here matching the alignment of your body with this foam here across my feet, because we're trying to develop an inside-out swing as we hit the golf ball. So again, when you do this drill over the winter time and you exercise it maybe every other day for 5-10 minutes, I guarantee you it marinates where now you have the same repeatable golf swing for all your clubs in your bag. And it's so easy. You don't have to hit a lot of balls, but if you exercise your muscles, it will repeat itself. So let's do that again. Turn, hold, cock and turn, and hold. This is a good turn, shoulder turn. If you're capable of getting a full shoulder turn, this is great. If not, as long as you get the club back where it should be, back with the right shoulder or your hip, you're good to really develop an inside-out swing when you do get the club back where it's supposed to be. Okay? The releasing is very key to yardage when you hit the golf ball. You need club head speed. So let's talk about releasing before we get into the follow through. Releasing is kind of like a fluid motion, letting the wrist kind of pronate or roll over. So I'm doing it up here chest high because you can do this at home. And what you're doing is just letting the wrist flicker. And the faster you do it coming back to your left, you can hear the kind of wind sound. Let the momentum of the club head just carry on around when you release it. It's going to feel like you're swinging too fast, but you need that club head speed. The releasing starts when we get down slow motion. Is when I get to hip high. When I get here, this is where you want to release your wrist. That's where your release starts, when you get here. Not up here. Your release does not start up here. Okay? So as you start down, you can snap your wrist here. What you can do is, one good drill is to get the club waist high, back here where your hip is, or your pocket, and then snap your wrist. And swing all the way. Let's do that again. You can do a couple of the swings every other day, and just get it here and swing. Notice that I can hear my club head speed. Now, if you don't hear that when you practice, you're holding the club too tight in the palms or in your fingers, and that restricts you from getting yardage, and it messes with your accuracy. So you want to make sure you release on all your shots, because remember, club head speed gives you yardage. Okay, let's do that again. Here and release. Okay, so make sure you exercise that, and I guarantee you'll see your ball travel and you'll get yardage. The follow through is very key along with the release, so we can get yardage on the golf ball. So let's go ahead and get set up and talk about that. So I take my stance, got my posture, we talked about the backswing. Get the club to the top, and we want to release and follow through. So I'm going to follow through and turn the foot over on the toe, which is the right one, and my hips and my chest is going to be facing towards the target. Okay, let's do that again. I'm just going to go forward this way, like so. This is where I want to end up at when I swing through. Now remember, we talked about the release goes along with the follow through. So when I release, It's pulling me over to my left side when I release. I do not want to stop that process of my momentum going to my left side. I want to go all the way through the shot. 1, 2, 3, hold my finish. Let's hit a shot and see how that comes out. 1, 2, and swing. Hold your finish. Okay, now along through with that follow through, what I want to do as you exercise this, you want to try to stay here until your right shoulder hit your chin. I hit the ball, I see my right shoulder, now I can pull up. We talked about it earlier that your spine angle, bending over from the waist, is very key. So as you approach the golf ball in slow motion, you do not want to pop up when you're about to hit the ball. Okay, so you want to stay down until you see that shoulder, and it'll pull you right up out the shot. Let's try another one. Arms are hanging. Take away, get to the top, and swing. Hold your finish. Okay, so the follow through and the release goes together. If you stop your follow through, a lot of times your release won't be there and you're cutting off your yardage. So you want to go all the way through, let the club go to the shoulder and the ear, between the shoulder and the ear, not below your shoulder, but right up between it. I figured probably after 2 weeks, you won't have to pause 18 inches on your backswing. You can maybe a little hesitation at the top and then go ahead and swing. It looks something like this after you've marinated just a little bit more, and you won't have to stop. You'll be able to go right to the top and swing. Okay, now you can do short swings, waist to waist, and release to just make sure that you're exercising a smaller version of the swing, and then go ahead and expand it out to the full swing. Okay, so that's where you can just kind of develop the muscles of hitting the right shots. Same swing for all your clubs in your bag. Okay, so what we did was we covered a lot of things in the swing, but this is for beginners. Don't forget, we talked about the interlock, the overlap, stance about width of your hips, posture, arms are hanging. The 18-inch takeaway, get it to the top, swing fast, hear the club whistle, swing and hold your finish. Turn the right foot over on the toe. Okay, so exercise that over the winter time. Like I say, every other day, you'll find your swing becoming more natural. The reason why you're pausing is to see your club get in the right position, which you have to kind of repeat that same swing with all 13 clubs in your bag, and then get it to the top. After about 2-3 weeks, you won't have to pause 18 inches. You can go to the top with the hesitation, control, and the reason why you loop pause at the top is because you want to have control over your timing and your rhythm. If your timing is off, a lot of times you will miss hit shots right and left because the club is coming in delayed or late. Make it seem like you're doing something you're not releasing. So make sure you exercise that, and that'll get you ready for the next season, 2012. I guarantee you will swing a lot better. And if you have any issues with your golf swing, don't hesitate to call me or come on out to the course. And I hope to see you next year.